Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. This will perhaps be the final episode of How Do Blind People Google Autocomplete. I think we just checked and we're up to the letter T. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get it finished today. Before we get started though, the response we got for the last video is absolutely amazing. I can't believe how many people have watched it. It went out last night, so 24 hours ago. And the view count and the watch hours especially have been absolutely amazing. So thanks. Of course, it wouldn't be another alphabet video without our friends at Heist. Today, I'm going to be trying, this is called Fluff, and it sounds really, really weird. It's got soft serve ice cream powder in it. So a few of you on Twitter, when I posted pictures, said that I should try this one. So I'm going to open this and give it a try, and whilst Julian says hi.
Hello.
Oh, wow. This is... This is really nice. It's kind of sour. It's not like any beer I've ever tasted before, and I like to think I know beer, but it's got a sour taste to it, and you can taste like the creamy ice cream flavors. It's a very strange drink, but I'm definitely on board with it. I would recommend it. Are you still there, Julian?
I am. I thought you were still talking to the camera. I didn't know you were talking to me.
Well, yeah, when Julian's still waiting for his to arrive. So yeah, as soon as I think this would be nice on a summer's day. Mine's not quite as cold as it should be, but it is very good.
Warm summer days are in no short supply right now for me. So it'll be a very welcome present when it does come in through the post.
It's been raining for the last 2 days here. We've had summer.
I mean, it is the UK, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you get a few hot days. Sometimes I have to turn on the air conditioning and then...
Oh, what, for like 7 whole days out of 365?
Yeah, it's still worth having though.
Oh yeah, no. 100%.
It's not a thing though, really, in the UK. Houses aren't built with air conditioning.
Which is insane to me. I'm originally from where you cannot survive without air conditioning. And when I moved out to California, damn near 20 years ago now, it blew my mind. There were houses out here without air conditioning. But, you know, even then things were not as hot as they are currently.
Yeah, well, I've only been to Florida, but whenever I go, I'm the quintessential British person running between air-conditioned buildings and sweating.
All right, so before we actually begin, do you want to fill some folks in about that story you told on Brain Blaze where you went out to go get a paper and got accosted by some woman and then yelled at by the paperman?
Well, it's two separate stories, kind of. I got yelled at because I asked for a copy. I got yelled at by the guy in the shop because I asked for a copy of the Sun newspaper on the Wirral, which is the Liverpool area. And as I explained in the episode of Brain Blaze, the Sun has been boycotted there because of the basic lies they told about the Hillsborough disaster. But the woman who was shouting at me because she didn't think that blind people should be out and about with children on their own. I kind of, when I told the story in Brain Blaze, I thought that was self-explanatory, but I've had, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 different people ask me. Danny asked me, Lorelei asked me, I think you asked me, Simon didn't get it when he read it, so that's my bad. I really thought it was self-explanatory, but no.
I did not ask you for a clarification because I knew I would be doing it on this show. Oh, God, my dogs. So I'm just going to walk you through what I thought happened, because the way that it was written, or at least the way that Simon had read it, it seemed like you strapped your kid in, walked out of the house, and I was expecting something, like maybe you had forgot to put on shorts, or maybe you didn't strap your kid into your chest right or something. And that's why the woman was yelling at you. Not that she thought that blind people should not be allowed outside with their children independently. Like that just makes the story so much worse.
That was the problem she had. I'm sorry for keeping everybody waiting so long. As I said, when I wrote it, I thought it was self-explanatory, but definitely wasn't.
I don't say sorry for that. Don't apologize. Just building up good content, man.
It gave us something to talk about at the beginning.
Oh, we were always gonna have something to talk about. I've got a case full of beer, and so do you. So I think we'll be fine.
Tell you what, that the fluff sort of gives you the aftertaste of rhubarb crumble. It's very nice.
Ooh.
I didn't think I'd like it, but
is it made with rhubarb?
I don't think it is.
Are you tasting notes of rhubarb?
Yeah. Which I've become a connoisseur.
Maybe you can put it up to your ear and listen for notes of something else.
You'd be drowned out by the sound of the eclipse.
All right. We'll mark it here.
One day I will do merch, and there will be a "Did you hear the eclipse" T-shirt.
I'll design it for you.
Awesome.
I can do that just fine. All right, so let's pop onto the teas. I've got can't talk. I already have it preloaded here. So Dave, there's a lot in the teas, so I'm gonna have you choose. So I'll read off a list. All right. How do blind people text, tell time, which we've already covered, type, think, tell money apart, which has already been done, take notes, travel, take tests, text on iPhone? Don't know why it's so specific, but
I think it's probably because of the touchscreen element.
I mean, an Android is touchscreen too.
Yeah, but it's the same process. Android ripped off VoiceOver. Well, they tried to. It's not what's it called? TalkBack on Android. Not quite as good, but it's getting there. They copy a few more Apple features, and it'll be there.
It's cyclical, isn't it? Because back in 2008, I want to say, when the Nexus 1 first launched, I sold my iPhone immediately and got it. I can't remember if it's 08 or 09, but I just remembered when Google said that they were going to launch their first phone, and it wasn't going to be like HTC or Motorola or anything. I sold my iPhone immediately. I went out, I sold it for like $700. Bought that thing right away, and it innovated a lot of stuff. Like, there was no apps on the home screen that didn't need to be there. You had an app drawer. Apple has its own little thing now where you can hide all the apps on the home screen. The pull down top nav for notifications and such. I really miss my fucking trackball though. That's never coming back. But now it's Android taking inspiration from Apple. See how long it takes before it cycles back around.
I don't know. Honestly, I think it's much of a muchness. I don't think there's anything really between the two operating systems. I just say that sort of stuff to annoy the Android people. I'm currently running the beta version of iOS 18. It's iOS 18? Whatever the latest one is, I've got the beta version running. And it's got a few nice things. They finally opened up the NFC chip a little bit. So instead of, if you want to add a card to the wallet, you don't have to scan it with the camera. You can just tap it on the phone, and it'll contact the card provider and set it up like that, which is pretty cool. But yes, we should probably answer some questions.
There's a last one on here, which it's just one of those things along the lines of, this is tactile. How do blind people take showers?
Okay.
So you have a list you can choose from. I can remind you of a few if you'd like.
We've covered travel. I've done a whole video about texting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Taking showers is kind of obvious, I would think. You know,
like, are your eyes open when you put shampoo in your hair? Like, A lot of my time spent in the showers is with my eyes closed.
Well, yeah, you'd get soap in your eyes, wouldn't you?
Exactly. Or a stream of water shooting into my eyes.
I think we've kind of we've covered if it means do you think in images and stuff for the thinking. We've covered that as well, haven't we?
We have. Under dreaming and imagination and such.
I'm not sure that T has one to offer us.
I don't know. Taking notes sounds rather interesting.
Oh yeah. Yes. I'll run with that. When I first started writing, I was terrible at taking notes. I'm still terrible at taking notes, but I have a system that works for me. I basically have 2 Word documents open, the one I'm writing in, and then one where I collect notes. I don't know if this is the same for everybody, and if I see something I want to use later on a website, I just copy and paste it in there. Taking notes on like a day-to-day basis for things that aren't work related, I'll use the notes app in my phone or make a voice note. I only recently discovered that you can tell Siri to make a note, and it will. I didn't know that. So now I do that.
So when you were in school, say 13-year-old Dave, what was that like? Because I'm pretty sure tech at the time wasn't as robust.
There were Braille note takers around. I'm gonna do a video about that actually soon. I'm gonna do the history of blind tech. So from the original sort of punch set where you had to use a grid, a metal grid, and then poke each individual dot through onto the paper, through to the most modern piece of blind tech I can get hold of at the time. But yeah, I used it's called a Perkins Brailler, which is the standard Braille creation device, if you like, and it's the same 3 fingers on each hand combination, but it's I don't know how to describe it. It's like a really old typewriter. If you can put an image in, that's when you do the edit, that'd be great. But yeah, you just type on it and you've got an instant hard copy of Braille, the same as you would have with a typewriter. But that's what I used to use for most of my work at school. The only problem with those is they are really loud. So if you're in a lecture or a school lesson and you're trying to type notes, it can be quite distracting for anybody around you.
So what I see is it's just called the Perkins Braille.
Perkins Brailler, yeah.
Yeah, all right. I will I'll throw it into the edit.
Yeah, it's kind of you can get like a labeler where you have the dial on and you turn it to the letter and squeeze it and it punches it onto the tape. Just like a normal old school labeler.
Man. I can just imagine the other students sitting near you. Just
yeah, I imagine it can be quite distracting if you're trying to listen.
All right, so that was T, so we're on U. Okay. U seems to be dominated by the word use, and we've covered a significant amount of these.
I thought it might be.
So I
let's see if we can find one we
have. The autocomplete. Yeah, no, there's nothing. There's like phones, computers, the internet, cell phones, iPhones, echolocation, social media, the bathroom, their phone, and money. So I think we can skip the use. Unless you heard something compelling.
No, I don't think there's anything there that we haven't already covered.
All right, then we are on to the V's. Vote seems to dominate this one too.
That's a good one.
How do blind people vote in India, South Africa, the UK, in elections, Australia? Though,
Well,
hmm?
we just had voting, so unfortunately, and I've got to be honest here, we just switched over in the UK to a system whereby when you vote, you have to take photo ID, and lots of people moaned about it, and I said moaning about it was ridiculous. How hard is it to turn up with photo ID? And it got to voting day, and I knew who I was going to vote for. And could I find my passport? Could I fuck?
This guy fucks. Am I right?
So unfortunately, I didn't vote this time. It wouldn't have made any difference. The people who I was going to vote for won by a not insignificant landslide. So they didn't really miss my vote, but it's just I was very critical of those who moaned about requiring photo ID, and then that was the reason I wasn't able to vote.
So,
but in the go on, sorry.
no, go ahead.
In the UK, you have a piece of card with lines in it. It's slotted lines, and on the right hand side you have the braille letters A, B, C, D, E for each. Each letter corresponds with a slot, which then, when the polling slip is underneath the overlay, each letter corresponds with the one of the parties, so, or the people you're voting for. So they tell you when you get there, A is what Labour, B is Lib Dems, whatever. So you line the piece of paper up, and then you put your tick or your cross in the relevant hole on the piece of card, and then it ends up in the right place on the voting slip.
I wonder how it's done in the US now. But I have a question. Is it not a common thing in the UK to constantly have your ID on you?
No, because we don't have to. You don't have to. Even if you're driving, you don't have to have your driving license.
Fuck off, really?
Really, no.
What's the point of having a license if you're not required to carry the damn thing?
They prefer it if you do, but if you get pulled over, I think this is still the case. But it certainly used to be, and I'm sure it is. If you get pulled over by the police, they'll just take your information, run it on the computer, and say, yes, this person has a license, and then you have like time to go to the police station and show them your license.
That sounds inefficient as fuck. It's just a card.
But is it the law in the US that you have to have your license with you if you're driving a car? Yeah, because they say license and registration.
Yeah, it is actually the law. I don't know if it's federal for identification in general. It might be, but yeah, if you're driving, you have to have a license present on you.
But you have to possess a license in the UK, but you don't have to have it with you.
That's so bizarre to me. Sounds like such an inefficient way to do things. What's your name? Where do you live? You allowed to drive this thing? All right, let me go run the computer. Says someone at this address should have this kind of vehicle. Please go to the police station and present ID. Like, just show it.
They have the NPR camp. They have the number plate recognition in the police cars now, so they know who should be driving the car when they pull you over.
How do they verify without the identification, though? I mean, unless your picture shows up.
It might. I'm not sure. Maybe it does. They've got the pictures on file at the what would be the DMV. I should know what it's called in the UK, but I don't.
Does it begin with Royal?
No, it doesn't.
Because I imagine it'd be like the
Royal Driving Academy.
I would think it was something like the Royal Motor Carriage Database for driving.
What is it? I can't remember.
What is the DMV called in the UK? The Driver and Vehicle Licensing
DVLA.
Agency.
It's the DVLA. That's what it is.
I'm moderately surprised that the word royal doesn't show up anywhere in there.
I had DMV stuck in my head because I've been reading the Kevin Mitnick book, and he hacked the DMV loads.
I mean, it's not
That's
hard
going to
to.
be a fun video. Watch out for that, guys.
I think the DMV is still working on XP. Okay. So that was V. So we're on W.
Yes, V for vote.
Yeah, we're on W already.
I mean, it's slightly shorter video this time.
Oh, fuck off. No. We can drink. We can drag this out. How do blind people... W. Okay. I'm trying to filter out some stuff. Because the last result is amazing. How do blind people wipe their bum?
We've done this one already.
There's a theme around
back to
blind
this.
people that our sighted companions are curious about. So we've established how you write, how you wipe, work, walk around, wake up. Right. It just happens.
Slowly.
Without the sun, you'll just stay in perpetual sleep.
Oh, sleep. What is sleep? I remember sleep.
I mean, as a parent, it's an old friend you've not called, talked to, or visited in a significant amount of time.
I went to a Green Day gig. I think I was about 18. At a place called Milton Keynes Bowl, and I stayed awake for 2.5 days for reasons, and then I slept for 48 hours. Like, went to sleep and woke up at pretty much exactly the same time 48 hours later.
Now, was this the gig that you went to in which you and your friends got pulled over and one of your friends happened to have been wearing flip-flops?
Yes. That's some memory.
I edited that video.
We were coming back. We were coming back from we were coming back from Green Day. Yes, yeah. That was that gig.
Yeah. And I believe what you had said was because that friend's father was a constable, he was already very well versed in the law to say, I can drive with my flip-flops on and you do not smell a very skunky smell coming from a car of 6-foot guys in a tiny Ford Focus.
One of those things was true. Yeah, it was. No, he's a driving instructor. Mike's dad's a driving instructor.
Okay.
Sorry, Mike. Sorry, Mike. Just
I can just bleep out the name.
Right.
Don't worry. But yeah, no, I edited that video like 4 months ago, 3-4 months ago, something like that.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, but that
was a long time.
That story stuck out to me because everyone wears fucking flip flops because you don't want to cover your entire foot when it's 124 out.
You shouldn't drive in flip flops, though. I get why. I get why it's frowned upon.
It's unsafe. I'm uncomfortable doing it. It's not comfortable for me to drive with flip-flops on. So there's a law against it. I get it. But unless you want to talk about how you watch TV or movies, both of them show up. It's media, essentially, if you want to talk about that.
I guess there might be some people who don't know that audio description is a thing.
So you only limit yourself to David Attenborough media.
No, you know, they not have that on US TV. They must do.
Oh, we definitely do.
TV,
it's not a feature that I utilize, but yeah.
Well, no, there's no reason why you would. But yeah, there's it's on Disney Plus. We watch a lot of Disney Plus. There's a option in the audio menu. You switch on audio description, and it gives you a running commentary as to what's going on in the background, or what's going on that you can't work out from the dialogue.
So it must vary from movie to movie, right?
Oh yeah, it depends how much they pay. You get quality voice actors reading well-written stuff, or not, you know.
Do they have the same thing for pornography?
Yes, they do.
I was being I was joking, but really?
Yeah, I didn't know either. A sighted friend of mine wondered the same thing. A sighted friend of mine wondered the same thing as you did, and I will shout you out, Franklin, because I know you're watching.
Sorry, Frank. I am not bleeping that out because that shit's funny.
James Franklin.
Poor Frank.
And I'm only doing this because he looked it up on my computer whilst we had a shared broadband connection that was being monitored.
What a dick!
So,
Frank? What'd you go and do that for, bud? Did you not have a cell phone you could do it on?
But yes, there is audio described pornography, but as most audio description is, it's described by a very British man.
Oh, that's a way to lose wood hard. Fast. She caresses her bosom. Oh, good lord.
But for the amusement factor, I recommend you check it out on your own time and on your own internet connection.
Luckily, I have my own. Gonna have to VPN into the UK. Oh my god. Okay. The W's yielded better than I thought.
I think there is some kind of fruit in this beer, you know, because it's got like a sediment.
Can you do me a favor and hold the can up to the camera and rotate slowly? Because I might be able to grab a screen of it and read off, because rhubarb isn't one of those things that I think would just pop out of nowhere.
You could just Google it.
Oh, that's true.
You could just Google it. It's from Heist Brewery, and it's called Fluff.
Oh, Fluff! That's the one we talked about last time. Where I was... Wait, was it Fluff? Yeah. Oh, no, Fuzz. Fuzz was the one I was thinking that sounded mostly like it'd be mold.
It might be called Fluff, and I'm sure it's Fluff.
Ice Brewery Co. It was a mental note for me to put this into the edit. So I do have to give a little bit of criticism. The site, while moderately okay, there is no mention of the brewery's name anywhere. While that's in the URL, it's always good practice to have the name of what you are on the site at the beginning. I mean, don't take a word of a professional designer or anything for the web, but...
I'll pass that along. Or Dan, if you're watching, that's for you.
Live beer menu. Live beer. Is it live beer like it's alive? As if there's active yeast in it? Sure. Or is it live as in this is the current selection?
I think probably current selection.
Okay. There's the stout.
Because you can't put live beer in cans.
You're not allowed to have active yeast? In the UK for your beer?
Yeah, but you can't put live yeast in cans. It would explode.
Wouldn't it be the same thing if it's a glass bottle?
Yeah, usually if you have live beer, it's usually draft, no?
No, we have what I was drinking the last time or the time previous, I forget, but we have a few very high-end beers that have active yeast in it, and some of them come in cans and some of them come in bottles. Pliny the Elder and the Younger and Pliny for President all have active yeast. There is, oh my God, why am I forgetting the name of it? There's a brewery, I forget the name of it right now. Oh man, I'm gonna kill myself over this one, but they have a series of beers called the Enjoy By and Enjoy After, and those typically have active yeast in them still, and they're in cans.
Oh, fair enough. I stand corrected.
Fluff Sour Smoothie.
That's the fella.
They don't seem to have anything about the beer outside of the rating, how much it costs per pint, and the ABV.
Okay, well, I'll take some pictures of the cans when I get home, and I'll send them to you, and you can put them in.
As a web designer, there this leaves a lot wanting. Because I get it's a sour, but what kind of sour is it? What's in there? What do I take notes of? Is there rhubarb? maybe it's the Bay Area snobby beer drinker in me.
It's certainly not something you would expect, on draft or. It doesn't taste like any beer I've tasted before, but it is very nice. It sort of in its own field, if you will.
Oh my God, my wife and I actually went to it's not a brewery, it's called a cafe, but it's kind of like a tap house last weekend, and they had a draft there that I never thought would be there. They're called Good Karma Cafe. It's a vegan cafe. The reason why we wanted to go is because they have this great Buddha bun that my wife loves. It's just basically a Chinese pork bun, but it's done vegan style. But they have an insane selection of beers.
Vegan style?
Say what?
How do you do pork vegan style?
I don't fucking know. Not a vegan?
That doesn't sound like a thing.
It is. My wife went vegan for a little bit there in the early 2012s. And being the supportive boyfriend at the time, I gave my fair share of support. And, just went to McDonald's after and shit. But we found Good Karma Cafe, and we still continually go to the day. But they have this beer called the Sukaba by Firestone Walker. That is usually vintaged, and you buy them in bottles at stores. You never find that shit on tap, and they have it there from 2019. The vintage is 2019, so it's 2024 now. So the damn thing has sat around for a little bit there, just getting good. And I got myself, it wasn't even 8 ounces. It was 4 ounces for $10, but it was good. So I think at that point it was around 14% alcohol, but it was good.
Yeah, that's essentially wine.
Oh, it's better than wine, sir. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, you were saying that.
The cost of a high-end beer outclasses the cost of a high-end wine volume-wise. It's insane. It was so good, though. Wife is currently on a health kick, so she very seldom drinks these days, and she had a sip of mine and said, get your ass back up to the bar and get me one, please. This is too good to pass up. Because Sukabas are really good. And if you live anywhere in California and have access to Firestone Walker, fucking go get it. It's so good. It's basically abacus spelled backwards. They had to do that because of a copyright thing. But it's so good. Kind of want one now.
Did you not bring any back with you?
Couldn't. It was only on tap. It's not like I can have them poured into a container and cap it off for me. I think you have to be a brewery to be able to pour into a growler or some sort of container and cap it off to have patrons bring home. If you're just a bar or something, you can't do that.
In the UK, you can't. There's two kinds of license you can have: on-premises license or on and off-premises, or just there's three. Off-premises for consumption. Off-premises is just for shops. On the premises, pubs, and on and off the premises means you can sell beer to be drank at the pub or for people to take away.
God damn.
And the license, the on and off license says licensed to sell intoxicating beverages for consumption both on and off the premises.
That is the most UK way to describe something.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you'd like that because you lost out on not having the royal driving.
I'm still disappointed about that.
I give you that for your fix of Britishness.
I'll just go to Boddington's. I went out and grabbed I think 16 cans the other day because I was like, man, I haven't had one of these in a few years. I need to fulfill my cream soda of beer kick. Okay, I believe we're on
W.
We had W.
Yes.
We're on X.
Did we? What was W?
Watch
did we
media.
have W or did we?
That's how we found out
did,
about David Attenborough described porn.
So what's X gonna be?
Nothing. There is no autocomplete for X.
Huh. Okay then. Wildcard me. Ask me a question you've always wanted to know the answer to.
Huh. It's gonna take a minute.
And this is where people find out that we definitely don't practice this stuff. If there was any
if there was any inclination that we actually rehearsed this shit. Oh, for anyone that ever comments on Simon's channels, oh, you absolutely had to have read the script beforehand and have canned reactions. Like, fucking no. Okay, I go through so much of his footage. Fucking no. I'm surprised he actually reads anything beforehand.
Oh no, you can tell. I get it because the editors do such a good job, especially with Brainblaze and stuff. It looks like he might have read it before, but unless you've seen the if you've seen the unedited copies, then you can tell.
I've been.
Fuck! I thought my laptop had turned off then.
I had a small inclination at one point in time to shoot an email off to Simon and ask him, hey, we might could do like some kind of uncut cut of certain moments that I had to take out because this shit's funny. What do I want to ask a blind person?
They really are, but I can't. Obviously, can't mention them because they're not for public consumption. But some of them are great.
I mean, okay, so I want to say well more than 2/3 of the shit that I cut out are not explicit or are not things that cannot be consumed. It's just for timing and flow, and also for the word I wanted to use. Taste?
Actually, to be fair, the best bits get left in.
Yeah, well, for the most part.
His best fuck ups get left in.
Oh, fuck yeah. Typically, it's long stretches of pauses or throat clears,
Scrolling.
coughs, things like that.
Teleprompter scrolling.
Oh,
it's funny when he has to scroll back up down from the top once, but when he does it 4 times in an episode,
I'll tell you this, it is a fucking blessing that he doesn't watch a lot of Blazes, because one of my first Blazes that I edited, he literally looks in the camera and goes, "Oh, just cut all this out. Okay, we don't need it. Just move on." And I didn't because it was too funny. Because he said in previous Blazes before I started editing that he might wait like a year or so, and it's like he remembers everything that goes on in his recordings. So I just said, fuck this, I'm gonna meme the shit out of this, and just left it in there.
Well, yeah, Danny proofs them, so.
Well, I don't think Danny watches the raw edit though.
No, he watches the proofs before they get edited. Danny watches them, so he's in charge of what goes live, basically.
Yeah. But he doesn't watch the raw at all, so he wouldn't know that Simon said to cut it out.
No.
No one does. Man, I don't even know what to ask you, because like I've never been that curious, I guess. Although
Also, we've known each other for 2 years. You've probably asked me already.
fuck all, has it been 2 years?
Yeah. How long have you been doing Brain Blaze? No, I knew you before.
Yeah,
then.
you knew me
I met
well
you
beforehand.
through Discord. Yeah. On the when the original podcast was going to be a thing. That's when I met you.
Motherfuck, has it been 2 years? Jesus. Fuck, that's
Maybe not 2 years, but it's been a long time.
makes me feel a little bit older.
I can tell you because on my Twitter, I have a message inviting me to the first meeting that you had about the podcast.
Oh, right.
I'm just looking that up quick.
Yeah, do your thing.
2023, September 2023.
Okay.
So not 2 years.
Almost a year. But we talked considerably since then. Okay. Man. What am I curious about a blind person? I mean, have you ever driven a car? And how the fuck did you do that?
Yes. I have driven. I think there are a few vehicles that I haven't driven.
What?
Yeah, I grew up with like sort of stereotypical biker friends, and
Yeah, you had some
guys
Hells
used to
Angels
do-
friends.
yeah, and guys who used to do like banger racing. So I've driven loads of cars. Basically, in the have you seen Hear No Evil, See No Evil?
No, I haven't.
It's Richard Pryor and check it out. It's great. It's about a deaf guy and a blind guy, and well, pretty much every stereotypical hilariousness you can think of. It's really good. It's a terrible film, but it's very funny. Like there's a bit in it where the deaf guy is rescuing the lady of the film, and he breaks the glass to get in to rescue her, and the alarm system's blaring away, and he puts his hand up and goes shh because he's broken the glass. She said, "There is an alarm." It's a great movie, but yeah, he ends up driving in that, the blind guy. But so, and the deaf guy saying left, right. So, but yeah, basically, I've driven like that. Friends who were brave enough to let me drive their cars. Sometimes on private land, sometimes on very quiet roads, and the same with motorbikes. I've driven vans, trucks. Never driven a tractor, I don't think.
Motorcycle?
I've even driven
Motorcycle? Because you don't really got it.
Yeah, loads.
Huh?
I've driven more motorbikes than cars.
Huh?
Harleys, R1. I've driven an R1. Honda Goldwing. I've driven some nice bikes.
You ever had your hands behind a GXR? A GXR?
No.
Okay. A blind person on a crotch rocket, no offense to you, does not sound like a very appealing time for anybody involved. Because you go fast.
The R1 was quite scary.
Yeah.
Fun though. Well, I'm a responsible member of the community now. I have a child and a wife. I'm not allowed to kill myself in motoring accidents.
Man, neither am I. I told my wife
I
when
know,
we first met.
wives can be so unreasonable.
Well, I told my wife when we first met that one of the things I wanted to have when I could afford to have more than one vehicle was a motorcycle. She said no right off the bat, and we weren't even dating yet. And when we were dating, I'd mention it again, and that was another no. And when we got married, it was finally cemented that it was not going to happen. So along came a child, and those dreams are just gone. Because now I don't want to be reckless.
Retire one day. When you retire, when you're in your late 60s, early 70s, you can get yourself a Harley and
fucking hell, those days are coming faster and faster. Fuck all, I'm
yep.
Almost 40.
Yeah, I try not to remember how old I am. I have to check, and that's the problem. You know when you realize, and this is a tech thing, kind of, is you realize how old you are when you have to scroll down that fucking date of birth list.
Fucking thing, dude. So I ever since I became a developer, tabbing through, hitting arrow keys and whatnot are mainly how I navigate. I don't generally use my mouse if I don't have to, because it's just faster not to take your hands off the keyboard.
Yeah, people don't get that.
I mean, typically I would just tab over to that drop down and just hit an 8 because it'll just go to 1980s. But occasionally on the phone, you can't do that. So you have to scroll every time. I'm just thinking, fucking hell, how far do I have to go? Assholes born in the 20s. They're 21 now. 24.
Yeah, sometimes I'll be in the supermarket in local Tesco, and there'll be people in front of me who get ID'd, and I'm always so shocked that how recently 18-year-olds were born. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes so much sense.
Kids who,
because the math works out, and I just think that wasn't that long ago. It was.
There are kids who were born after I left school who are allowed to drink alcohol now. And that's depressing.
I don't like thinking about that. It bothers my wife that I still get carded. I don't know if we have a lot in the whys either, because we've got watch YouTube, know when to stop wiping, see the color yellow.
I don't see the color yellow. I have no color. I have no. This might be interesting. At least it's kind of related. I have no concept of colors, bar what sighted people associate them with. Like, I know now the idea of red makes me think of stuff that's hot, but through no built association of my own, if you know what I mean.
Socialization, the association of a color to its meaning, rather what we tend to have it bound to make sense to us, is ingrained in you now from socialization.
Yeah.
Which is part of my job, actually. Serialization of an experience. It's kind of why, well, you wouldn't know this, but why certain buttons are blue and green and others are not. You have primary actions and you have secondary, then tertiary actions, and they're all colored differently. Which for color blind folk, we have to do differently, because there are different levels of color blindedness.
Well, there you go.
Why's got nothing for you, bud? Because
I
caps.
I did the color thing. There you go. I put the color tangent in there.
It's not really a tangent, it's an explanation of sorts.
Have you seen any of the comments from the video that went out last night?
I saw a few.
Somebody wrote something like Simon inspired video. You guys are off on tangents as much as
Fuck off, Simon
And I just
inspired.
replied-
This is just two dudes drinking and like looking on Google. It's no different than what we would do if we were actually at a bar. Simon does this professionally. We're just hanging out. Although I do actually have ADHD, so who knows?
He claims he doesn't.
I'm not going to ruin anything for the
internet
guy
claims he
by
does.
stating my opinion on the matter. People can speculate all they want. I have my opinion, and I think it's correct.
I think probably, I don't know if he thinks he does or not, but I think he doesn't care.
I think that's a big proponent. I think he absolutely does not care because his life is going just fine,
Why would he
regardless if
care?
he's diagnosed
Yeah,
or not.
his life is awesome.
Yeah.
It's not like he's on the poverty line in the UK and he needs a diagnosis to get a bit more benefit money.
Yeah, and it's not like he's inefficient with his time in the fact, in the instance that it actually affects his work because he's been doing just fine. So even if he does have some form of attention deficit, he's doing perfectly fine.
Anybody who's ever exchanged emails with him knows that he spends a lot of time working.
Oh god, yeah. Okay.
Get the 5 o'clock emails in the morning.
That would be good for him in my instance, but no, I actually get 9 p.m. emails from him, which would be like crack of dawn check time. So
they're a year. They're a year ahead of us over there. No, and an hour behind. An hour behind or an hour ahead? I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't think the man stops working actually, unless he's on proper vacation. Let's see here.
So are there any Zeds?
None. All the autocompletes don't even line up to that letter. Because there's really no adjectives that begin with Z or Z if you want to get serious.
No. Yeah, if you want to use the alphabet correctly, Z. Yeah.
Oh, fuck off. So there's an anime where the protagonist's name is Goku. What would you call that anime's name in the UK? The middle one.
Goku?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's Dragon Ball. Is it Dragon Ball Z or Z out there?
It's Dragon Ball Z. Because it wouldn't say Dragon Ball Z. No.
Z. Which one is correct then? Or Zombie
How's it
Day?
pronoun-
Would you
how's it-
call it Z Day or Z Day? Or World War Z or World
Z
War
Day.
Z?
It would be World War Z.
Oh, come on. You were doing fine.
We, my wife and I, 'cause she's from the north, and they use like the more. It isn't American because Americans got it from the north, but it's more. The Americans got it from the UK, but it's like a different, like a harder A. So they'll say castle or instead of castle, or grass instead of grass. You know.
So the further you're removed from the queen, I guess,
Yeah.
you get more American. Is that
The
it?
further you move from the queen, the less well you can speak her language.
Okay, so this may or may not be controversial, but I don't give a shit because we're just hanging out, and I can choose to cut this if I want. So there's an obvious stereotype that's either negative or positive. For the States, the stereotype tends to lean in the negative for Southern accents. Is it the same for the UK except flipped? Like the Southern accent is more proper and the Northern accent is a little bit more, everything is held together by duct tape.
It's portrayed that way. I've lived in the South and I've lived in the North. Both have their merits. It is different, but like the North is portrayed as the poorer, less educated area, like half of the country. It's not necessarily true, but like all the mining was done up north, so it's more like the motto is a good day's pay for a good day's work, rather than it's like you'd be surprised if you met a northern banker, for example. Even now, there are, but it's perfectly normal, but it would still trigger that stereotype in the average Southerner to think, oh my God, you would expect Northerners to be tarmacking roads, etc. It is totally unfair, but it is still a stereotype that exists.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Newcastle is in the North, yeah?
Yeah.
We have a beer, I think it's good.
Newcastle Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great beer.
It's dark, isn't it?
Well, that's one of the reasons why I like it. But so
nobody calls it Newcastle Brown though.
Not plugging another channel, but I'm a big What Culture fan, more specifically What Culture Gaming. And one of my favorite presenters is from Newcastle. And he always, well, he doesn't always, but he's mentioned how rough it is up there. Is Newcastle like bad?
I've only been like passing through, but the Newcastleites, if you will, the people of Newcastle, are called Geordies. And yeah, it's like...
Why are they called Geordies?
I don't know. It's probably something I should know. Maybe I'll Google it one day. But yeah, it's... yes, it is a rougher area.
Okay, so Geordie is not spelled how I thought it'd be spelled. It's spelled with a G, like Georgie, but with a D instead. Oh, Geordie is an English dialect spoken by the Tyneside area of...
Yeah, that's Newcastle.
Tyneside, okay. Yeah. Area of northeast England.
It's the dialect of the...
Yeah, so it is a dialect. That's why they're called Geordies, is because they speak in the Geordie dialect.
There you go. I should have put those two things together. I knew all the information, just hadn't made the connection.
The wiki
it's the rhubarb juice, man. It's getting me.
The wiki is savage if you read between the lines. Like all English dialects, the Geordie dialect traces back to the Old English spoken by Anglo-Saxon settlers. Well, no fucking shit. Who else would it have been spoken by? Oh my God. In the 2017s, I worked for a 3-man startup. And, when you go into something like that, you have to see promise to want to go into something like that. And it is not a lifestyle that I would want for myself now, because I was their only, 3-person. So I was their only designer and front-end engineer. So not only did I have to design the shit, I had to build the shit that I designed. And because I leaned more into design, even when I was a developer, I had to make sure that I could design stuff to build.
What were the other guys doing?
Pardon? Oh, well, the other one was a back-end engineer, and he knew how to do front-end work, but he just didn't do it as effectively as I could, because that's what I specialized in. And I would actually write out the spec for him to write the API for me to pipe into. And the third guy was our CEO, which was basically
you doing
marketing.
all the work. And I just had this image of you doing all the work and then the other two guys just sitting around drinking coffee.
Oh, fuck no. No.
Yeah, we're involved.
Oh, no. So the CEO, he's probably one of the best bosses I've hands down ever had, which kind of makes sense for the company that we were trying to do. It was basically management software, but he was probably the hardest working asshole ever that I've ever met in my histories of working and contracting for startups. The dude took a huge pay cut to make sure that the backend engineer and myself got paid towards the beginning days of the startup, where we thought we were going to sunset the app, but it didn't need to be sunset. We automated a lot of things after that. It just hasn't been updated since then, I don't think. But yeah.
I've never had that. I've never had a job with that much responsibility, I don't think.
And don't work for a startup, let alone like an early stage, tiny ass startup. It was good though. It was an experience. It was really fun. I don't recommend it for anyone that is well into their career in tech to, backpedal into that.
A friend, I used to do some code editing when I was at college with some friends, and one of them moved over to Australia and set up his own ethical hacking company, and he came back over to the UK about 2 years later, 2 years after we left college, and he called me up and he said, come up to London and see me, I want to talk to you. And I was like, dude, I'm unemployed. It was just before I started working in a call center. So I can't even afford the train ticket to London. He said, no, I'll send a car. So he sent a car, picked me up from Portsmouth, drove me all the way up to London, put me up in a hotel overnight. Nice hotel. Drinks, all that included. And he asked me to go over and work with him. He'd already got a fairly well-established company going over there. And he said, look, I want you to come over. He offered me a very more than fair wage. And he said he'll put me up over there until I get my own place and all that. And just at the time, I had things going on that I couldn't leave. Like my gran wasn't well and I couldn't go at the time. And so I didn't. And then by the time I could have gone, the position wasn't available anymore. And it's one of those things I always think back, like, what would have happened if I had gone? But I don't regret it at all. The work would have been insanely hard, and I like my life now. And it's a life that I wouldn't have.
It's always one of those things. Like how I met my wife stems from something like that. And if I hadn't met her, I don't think I would have gotten into tech. And if I didn't get into tech, I wouldn't have had a lot of the experience that I did have. But the decision to go to an event where I met her was one of those, could I manage going or shouldn't I? It's irresponsible if I go, but should I? I ended up going, obviously. And I think my life would have been drastically different if I hadn't. I don't regret it.
Well, your wife would have been different too.
Very arguable, actually. So we met at an event through by a friend who happened to have been in a lot of other friend groups. And we would have met eventually, hands down. But the event that we met each other at was fairly significant. But man, working for a 3-man startup, that was good times. It was rough. But do you watch What Culture? Because I think they're bigger in the UK than they are in the States.
I was trying to think. There is a YouTuber from What Culture that I do know, but I can't remember. I used to watch a lot of. I don't have a lot of time for YouTube now. I watch Zay Frank, who I said. Do you remember I sent you the kidney snake video? Anybody who's still watching and hasn't drifted away because we've gone on a tangent. I don't know the guy at all. I have no affiliation with him, but check out Zay Frank. I'll I might even put a link in the description. His things are fucking awesome.
Same with What Culture. No affiliation. I just fucking love them. But
Yeah.
I'm going to describe one of my favorite presenters. And I think you'll know who, because it's apparently a common theme for YouTubers to have this type of description. The man's got a beard. He's bald. He's British. He shares the first name of a Brain Blaze editor.
Sam. It's got to be Sam.
Jules.
Oh. I didn't think you'd use your own name.
I'm a Brain Blaze editor.
Yeah. But I thought you would have just, no.
Yeah, no, he's one of my favorites. My absolute favorites that have their own channel now, and it's a good one. I'm glad they actually got that up and running. Ever heard of Team Triple Jump?
No.
If you liked What Culture gaming in the early days, go check out Team Triple Jump, because they have the same narration style, and it's a good time. And they have long lists that I can fall asleep to, like 100 best games of all time, 100 worst games of all time, the top Metal Gear Solid games and shit like that. Like, their lists are fun, and they put you to sleep in a good way, not a bad way.
Yeah, we always fall asleep to YouTube, my wife and I. Neither of us can fall asleep without something going on in the background. I grew up in a house with at the most 8 other people, so quiet kind of unnerves me. I was down here a couple of months ago writing a script, so like nobody's talking, I'm just typing away, and it is fucking quiet down here. Well, because it's a concrete vault. Yeah, it's just, I don't like silence.
Lucky bastard. My wife is, I need quiet to sleep, and I'm one of those, I need noise to sleep. So it clashes. But I get it.
That's what AirPods are for, dude.
Even if I'm by myself, which is preferred when I am concentrating and working, I have to have something.
Oh, see, I'm the opposite. If when I'm working, I need no distractions. I took this place because for 2 reasons I took this office. One, because it was a basement, and I wanted to produce videos out of a basement and carry on the Brain Blaze sort of in-joke. And 2, because it is like a fortress of solitude. If I'm at home, I'm so easily distracted. I just need quiet. But I can't go to sleep when it's quiet. It's weird.
I mean,
my wife thinks I have it. My wife thinks I have ADHD.
You don't have to have ADHD to prefer a certain environment.
Oh no, there are many other reasons.
It's really funny because I have been diagnosed with ADHD, and I know for a fact my wife does, but she's not diagnosed. Like, it's to a point where I am medicated, so I can't concentrate on my work. She's not. So when I am medicated, I get really irritated really quickly. Because
I'll have. Go on.
No, I was just gonna say when I'm.
No. I've interrupted you loads of times.
I was just gonna say when I am medicated, I'm like fixated, like invested levels of fixation on like a conversation or anything that I just want to focus in on. So a conversation with her tends to deviate a lot, which normally is fine. But when I am medicated, it's more like, can you go back to can you round back quick enough, please? Instead of like branching and branching and branching, which I know this is my problem, not hers. Though I can definitely see it. And I know when I'm unmedicated, it gets that way. If you've ever seen me joke around on Discord, especially, it's like that. Except I go a little bit more hard. Because me unmedicated is a disaster.
So I solve any problems like that I have with coffee. I'll have 2 cups of coffee, strong coffee, before I go to bed. Otherwise, I can't go to sleep. Coffee is my medicine.
Do you get dark or light roasts?
I prefer something in the middle, but I don't like it so dark it's bitter. But it depends what mood I'm in. Because I get Skull Crusher coffee, which is allegedly the strongest coffee in the world. Actually, there's a good video on decoding the unknown. It's the Stonehenge episode, and Simon drank a whole pot of Skull Crusher coffee, and he's trying to do like a quite serious decoding the unknown, but he's holding back a kind of brain blaze buzz because he drank all this coffee.
And that's how I know that he does not have ADHD, because that would actually like mellow him out.
Yes, I have to. I'm fully addicted to coffee, but there are many other things I've been addicted to in the past that are much worse for you. I'll take coffee, you know.
I haven't had a proper cigarette in a very long time, and I miss it so much.
I'm doing well. I'm still on nicotine, but I haven't smoked for a week and a half, 2 weeks maybe.
I'm on like 4 years.
Wow. Fucking show off.
No, I'm like, because I have a child that I had to quit, but
I have a child.
My wife and I had a deal. It was a little bit different, but whenever I'm one of the smokers where a cigarette smell is very appealing to me. Still, so when we travel abroad, I'm just when I smell it, and I always will when we're traveling, I get sucked in. It's just.
Have you been to Italy? Italy is like the smoking capital of the world, man.
We went to Thailand, my dude. If you've ever been to Southeast Asia,
I haven't been
you could see the plume of smoke. That's not smog. It's from the fucking smokers. Oh man, I fucking miss it.
I've been through long gaps of not. So I didn't start smoking. This is way off topic. If people are still here, hi. If not, Julian and I are just having a chat. I never smoked tobacco till I was about 21. Got tobacco on its own anyway. Then I've given up and started again and given up and started again loads of times. But even when I'm not smoking, I'll go and stand with the smokers, you know. So when we went to Italy on holiday, I mean, my wife hates even the smell of cigarette smoke. But I'm like, we were walking through the villages in Italy, and everyone's smoking, and I'm just like,
It's a terrific smell, isn't it?
It is. It's wonderful.
Yeah, we go to Hawaii often because it's the closest that we can go where it's paradise. And there's always smokers there. And every time I get off a plane, walk a little bit, catch a whiff, I know I'm in paradise.
Yeah, it just makes the stress drop out your shoulders, doesn't it? It's just like
Oh yeah. It's one of those. One of those scents that's both nostalgic and relaxing at the same time. Just,
it's a weird thing.
Oh, it's a terrific thing. How many beers are you in at this point? Because I think at this point we've gone on for like an hour 10.
This will be. I'm holding it up and touching the can, but that's not helpful to you. I've drank one and I've got about a third left, but I won't. I won't drink. I only brought 2 with me, and I wouldn't drink more than 2 beers on what I would call a school night anyway.
No, I'm on my third. In the afternoon.
I try and be careful. Like I said, I've said loads of times, I don't drink anywhere like I used to. Anywhere near like I used to. And that's better. I get a lot more done.
I mean, I don't drink anywhere like I used to, but I always got shit done. I always drink at night. I just don't drink to the same volume as I used to.
Oh, when I was running the pubs, during the week I would drink 15 pints a day and not think anything of it.
That's just a good night for me.
And 20, 30 at Friday night and Saturday night. But it got to the point where it wasn't. I never felt drunk because I was constantly drunk for 2.5 years. You know.
How familiar are you with American university stereotypes?
Fairly.
I went to ASU.
Well, assuming they're the same as the movies. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's a very different time. Yeah. We used to play 55 cup beer pong. So 110 cups in total.
Fair enough. Yeah.
For someone's birthday. Oddly enough, it was my birthday once a week. Yeah, that was a good time. Parent now, older now. Liver's gonna give out if I don't stop drinking like that.
And hangovers suck.
Hangovers are a thing, man. Like,
yeah,
they used to last like what, an hour, and now they go on like a week.
If you were unlucky, if you got up and quickly treated it with bacon and coffee, it was fine.
Yeah.
But I know hangovers. I went out with my mate Swally. Yeah, you'll be watching actually. Hi Swally. And I hadn't seen him. He moved up to Birmingham. And I hadn't seen him for probably 10 years. And he moved back down. And we went out for drinks a couple of weeks ago. And I haven't drank like that in years. And it took me 3.5 days to feel normal again. I can't afford to do that, you know?
Mate, I got a hangover while drinking one night with my wife. The kid went down early. We got kind of squirrely. We put on I think it was either Friends or How I Met Your Mother, but it was one of the shows that we bonded over in the early days of us dating, and we kind of just wanted to relax. Took out some of the older beers from the 2017s and 18s that I'd been aging for a little bit that were being vintaged, I guess, bottled. And at that point, the alcohol is pretty high. They're like high teens per bottle. They're like 3.5 bottles in. Wife is almost knocked out. And I get this wicked fucking headache while sipping on a beer. I took a breath and just started thinking to myself, is this a fucking hangover? It sure as shit feels like one. Then the dry mouth kind of kicked in. Then the craving for very oily, very bad food came in. I think I had like a $95 DoorDash bill that night. But yeah, got a hangover whilst drinking. Getting old fucking sucks.
Grease and coffee. And orange juice, for some reason.
For some people, orange juice makes me puke if I have a hangover.
Orange juice and apple juice. I think it just reminds me of hotel buffets. I used to play a sport called goalball, which I think I've spoken about briefly, but yeah, if you could stick a little clip in, that'd be great. There's loads on YouTube, or I can send you something.
How do you spell it?
But basically, it's goal as in to score a goal, and ball as in the thing you would use to score a goal. But yeah.
It looks like soccer had sex with dodgeball, my guy.
Yeah, that's a fair analogy. You have three people on each team. Everyone wears sort of blackout shades, so they're ski goggles with foam sprayed on the inside. So everybody, no matter your level of sight, you're all like on a level playing field.
Equally handicapped.
Yeah, equally handicapped. See, handicapped. You can't say handicapped in the UK. It's very American. It's not considered. It's not considered acceptable.
Well, fuck off. The actual definition of it is a handicap. Like golf, you have a handicap in golf.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Oh, well, if I ever go to the UK,
Like I said-
I have to
I said
wash
in
my
a brain
mouth a
blaze.
lot.
I said in a brain blaze the other week, a doctor told me off for saying blind.
Wait, what?
That was
But that's what you are.
I know, but he said, "Oh, no, we're not allowed to say blind anymore. We say severely sight impaired."
You're not severely
So
sight
you can
impaired
say
if you
whatever you
don't
want.
have sight.
Yeah,
An impairment
at
is
least be
different from the
extremely-
inability.
but yeah, sorry, yeah, global. Yeah, the idea for those who don't know is you have 3 people on each team. You have to throw a very heavy ball with a bell in it past the people on the other team, basically. But I used to play at national level, and we used to go off to these tournaments, like 3-day tournaments. And the first day, everybody would be playing to the best of their abilities. But it didn't matter because whoever won the tournament would be the team that had the best tolerance to hangovers and playing sports at the same time. Because you'd get there on a Friday, go and get smashed in the bar, play on Saturday, get smashed in the bar Sunday, and then you'd have the final maybe Monday morning after 3 days just drinking. So it really didn't matter how good you were. It was just down to your alcohol tolerance.
So, for those in the tech industry, we can equate this for being a speaker at a tech conference. Because tech conferences are typically around 3 days. And the first day is always the busiest day. So if you got to speak on the first day, it's probably what you want to do. Because people will retain that. Because after the first night, everyone
Nobody's
gets really
listening.
drunk. And the second day, only those that survived that well enough or didn't drink would be at the talks for the second day. And on the third day, if you had anyone at your talk, you must be either very boring or very compelling. Oh my God. Back in 2016, I went to a really great conference in Germany. I saw that shit firsthand. Because after the first day, well, obviously after first day, that night, I think there was like a mob of maybe 90 of us walking bar to bar, restaurant to restaurant shit. The second day, I somehow, well, maybe it's because I was in my 20s still, I rolled out of bed, walked to the conference. No one was any talks. So I just walked back and just knocked out. Woke up later on in the day and just walked around the city, had fun. Third day, not that bunch of hangover, went back, fucking nobody was there. But yeah, same time. Except, it's not the winners that stuck around. It was the folks that didn't drink or just had to really be there. But this ball looks heavy duty.
Oh, it is heavy. It's hollow, but I think it's 1.5 inches solid rubber.
With a bell?
Yeah, it's got they're like falconry bells, I guess, inside, and there's holes in the ball, so the sound comes out. But when you play at national and international level, some of the guys can throw the ball at 90 miles an hour.
Jesus.
And you have to deliberately get in the way of that. when you've been drinking for 2. And the thing is as well, you play a tournament, you have 6 players available, but only 3 players on the court. But if you played a 3-day tournament, constantly being hit by that ball, you can't walk. I mean, even when I was young, you'd come back, and for the next few days, you'd feel like you'd been in a car accident,
I mean, you guys in the UK just like abusing yourselves with sports. Like, you may not have American hand egg, but you've got shit that will fuck you up, like this sport, rugby, or just drinking.
Rugby. Oh, there was a pub I used to drink in called the Centurion when I was at college, and there's an American guy who used to come in there every week, and he used to bring us back. He used to travel back and forth between, I think, Texas and the UK on business, and he used to bring back bottles of Everclear for the pub.
Oh my God.
And because you can't buy Everclear in England.
You can't buy Everclear in a lot of places in the States. You can in the Southwest, though.
But he'd bring back a bottle of Everclear every time he went. He came back one Saturday, litre bottle of Everclear on the shelf, and then he went away for 2 weeks. And he came back in and he like looked up at the shelf. He's like, "Where's the Everclear?" And he was like, we said, we drank it. What? You drank a bottle of Everclear in a week? We went, no, we drank it on Sunday when you brought it in.
It's not okay. Wait, okay, between how many people?
4.
That's not okay. I thought it was like, oh, you were pouring it out for the bar. So, 50, 60 people get like a shot or something. That's not okay. That shit is flammable, man.
It evaporates if you put it on your hand.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to call this because I just got a low battery alert on my computer and I don't have a power supply.
Well, we'll call it here if you want to play us out.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us. Sorry, the actual Googling bit was short, but we didn't have that much left to Google. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Really, actually, guys, if you could share it, that would be amazing, because the more followers we get, the quicker we'll get monetized, and then I'll start doing live streams. That's a promise I've made to people. So I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks again, Julian, for coming.
Of course.
Hopefully you'll join me for something else.
Hey,
we'll come up with another topic and we'll get it done.
Only if you want to have me, man. Like, again, it's just a Thursday for me with a beer and a friend.
Definitely. We'll sort something else out and we'll get it done soon. Thanks for coming, guys, and see you soon.
Bye.